didn't get 1, 2, or 3. All right, we got the 10 spot. I like the 10 spot more than the middle. I can't deal with 5, 6, 7, 8. I can't do it. Not a fan of 5, 6, 7, 8. My favorite draft spot obviously is 1, 1, then 1, 2. Then I would if you gave me the option to prioritize for these drafts and say, well, which spot do you definitely want to have? It would be 1, 1, then 1, 2, then 1, 12, then 1, 11, then 3, 10, 4, 9, and then vomit. So that's kind of where I'm sitting right now. That's what I look for the most. That's what I'm looking into getting. There's so much of an advantage to be able to, certain years versus others, there's more value in the number 1 spot, right? This is one of those years. When we had LaDainian Tomlinson, there was massive value in the number 1 spot. When we had Terrell Davis, there was massive value in having the number 1 spot. There was nothing that you could do to make up the difference between that number 1 guy and the rest of the guys. So much so that there were sites out there that would, and Barkley goes first, so much so that you could, sites would actually reverse the snake in the 3rd round. So it would go 1 through 12, and then 12 through 1, and then it would go in the 3rd round 12 through 1 again to try and take away some of the advantage inherent in that number 1 pick because of the super studs that were out there at the top of the drafts. I don't think Barkley 1 is like egregious. I would go, if I get 1, 1, right now, if I get 1, 1, I'm going Christian McCaffrey 100% of the time. Tyreek Hill going 3rd seems egregious. But I bet you he's hoping he's going to get, this guy's going for a Chief stack IMO. Dave the Champ. So I would be, if you're taking Tyreek Hill 1, 3, I'm assuming that you're hoping that Kelsey makes it back to you with the 10th pick in the 2nd round. And, or if he's not there, you're taking Mahomes. Right? I think that has to be his strategy there. We'll see who I get here left to me at 110. I don't have my ranks loaded into the site because I have not done that yet. So these are just the ADP ranks here on the left. So in case you're sitting there, this is who else got. No, this is just by ADP. Don't worry about where I have players. That is kind of not relevant at this point. So Joe Mixon goes there. Nick Chubb could be taken here. And I think that's the direction that I'm going to go, in the hopes that there is something still available to me coming around on the turn. And depending on what site you're drafting on, and right now I'm drafting on Underdog Fantasy, they've got the single biggest tournament that there is right now, with $1 million GPP that we're entered in here. This is the Best Ball Mania tournament. $250,000 to first place. If you happen to get there, you have to win your league or come in 2nd to get to the 2nd round to get to the playoffs. Kelsey going 2-1, not shocked there. Oh, he sniped me. I was hoping to get Drake on the comeback. I didn't get him. That kind of sucks. Kind of want to go a 2nd running back here. They're going to be so bad. And I don't love any of these other running backs. I know that there's offensive issues right now with the Chargers, or possible offensive issues. But the way that he's going to be used, I think that Austin Eckler is, for me, the best pick there over guys like Josh Jacobs. The 3-headed running back in Green Bay with Aaron Jones. I'm not buying Edwards-Helaire in the top of the 2nd round. So for me, that's where I'm going. The rest of these guys are going to be available in the 3rd or 4th round. I've got 2 running backs to start. Sometimes, depending on where I pick, I will take different routes. Picking late in the 1st round, 0 running back, certainly an availability for you. I'm kind of going off of what we talked about in the other video that we did, the draft strategies video for 2020, trying to lock up a couple of heavy duty running backs, guys that are going to see high volume going into the year. And Nick Chubb, not one of my favorites. I could have gone Drake there. I thought Drake would be there on the way back. Looking quickly back at it, I would not have a problem with going Drake Eckler there. I have Drake higher than most people. I totally understand that. But playing on the ADP of the site, you know, a lot of people using the ADP rankings or how they draft, Drake has a very low ADP and has not adjusted yet on draft for where he, in my opinion, should be drafted. So there's a very real possibility that he falls to you if you're picking near the top half of the second round. Chubb over Sanders, to me, it's a goal line issue. I think that there's another realistic possibility that, as bad as he was last year, that Philly signs Devonta Freeman before the season starts. And that, for sure, would eat into his goal line work. I think Sanders is very good. Not taking away from Jonathan Taylor, the rookie, going at 210 for Dave the Champ. So not the route that I thought he was going. He went Tyreek Hill in the first round and Taylor in the second. I'm not trying to like critique somebody else's draft either. So like, I don't want to be like, oh, he's just talking trash about these people that are in the draft. I'm definitely not doing that. I'm trying to read based on how people draft what they're trying to do. So like, he went Taylor over Hilaire there, right? So like, if you're going to pick Tyreek Hill with the 3rd overall pick, I have no problem with reaching to get your guys, especially in a best ball tournament setting, because you should not be in this best ball mania tournament. You should not be thinking this is the best value right now. This is what you kind of want to go for correlation. You want to shoot for as much upside as possible because you have to win those playoff leagues. UNC in chat just said Taylor before CEH is something. I think it's more something with the knowledge of who his first round pick was. And there's Mahomes. So he could have had the full Chiefs stack if he went Hilaire over. See, and I don't get it. If you're going to go Hill Mahomes at 1 and 3, take Hilaire at 2. Right? And I'm going to do a video on teams that you can stack. Stackable teams at ADP or Best Ball Mania or any Best Ball League if that is the route that you're going to go, if that is a strategy that you want to take. Because there's so many different draft strategies. There's 0 RB, there's RB heavy, there's they're picking quarterbacks late, there's value in picking quarterbacks early, depending on where they are falling to you at ADP. I'm more concerned with how can I get 3 to 4 pieces of an offense, the key 3 to 4 pieces in an offense realistically at ADP. It is not realistic to think that you're going to get 4 Chiefs, the top 4 Chiefs, right? You're just not. Because their ADP is conflicting. Unless you're in an auction league, then obviously you can do whatever you want in an auction league. Lamar Jackson goes at 3.8. I was going to take him here at 3.10 right there. And then see if I could get Andrews on the way back. Because again, stacking. And a little preview of that video. If you can get Andrews, Lamar Jackson, Marquise Brown, you have a vast majority of the scoring that's going to happen on that team. You just do. Go with Amari. Like, all of the pass game offense is going to be owned by you. And we talked about in the video that I did with JJ Zacharyson, the wide receivers video, if you want to go back and watch that one, how he believes that, and he's very good at this stuff. He said, based on the numbers and possible regression, they played so much from ahead last year. The highest percent of time that teams have played ahead and the highest run pass differential since like 2011, that math tells us that they should not be leading that much in coming years, right? This year, they should regress somewhat. And if they regress, who are going to be the guys that benefit the most from that regression? I got sniped again. I was going to take Thielen there. This sucks. Cooper Kupp kind of falling out of favor for some people, but I still think that he's amazing. too much of the red zone market share for Cooper Kupp. Andrews may leave the board earlier than you want. Well, I mean, that's what I was saying about it's okay. Don't worry. Don't be tied to ADP value, right? You can most certainly. What if you walked out of a draft with you to do this effectively and to make sure you get it? You would kind of have to have the 1 pick or the 12 pick. Fair? So if you have the 1 pick, you can get it 100% of the time. You would take Christian McCaffrey first, Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews at the 2-3 turn. And then 6th round, you can go get Marquise. And there you have it. Did you reach a little bit on ADP to get him? Yes. Mark Andrews just went 4-7 there. So if you, like I said, if you have the 12 pick, you can at 1-2 take the 2 best guys that you want. At 3-4, hopefully you can get Lamar and Andrews and make it work. And then again, like I said, at 6, 5-6, you're taking that stud. Sorry, it would be 6-7 if you have the 12 pick. No, it would be 5-6. You take him at 5-6. Can't believe Andrews went before Ertz. I've seen that. I disagree with it. I think that Ertz should go ahead of Andrews. All I'm saying is, it's possible. So Dave the Champ just took another rookie running back, DeAndre Swift. I'm not high on rookie running backs this year. We talked about that in the rookie trust or bust video. I would much rather take the rookie running backs that are available late versus the ones that are available early. Just personally the way that I roll. I think that there's way too much variance in rookie running backs in any year. Now you've got a lot of rookie running backs who have pass protection as a possible issue on their profile, now coming in without mini camps, without preseason games. And all of them have veterans on their team that they're fighting for snaps against, fighting for carries against, fighting for usage in the passing game against. So I'm not really all that sold. Robert Woods goes 4-11. What? Ronald Jones just went in the 5th round. Okay. DK Metcalf, 5-2. So I don't hate this start. I got 2 really high volume running backs. I think that Cleveland can bounce back as an offense, as a team. Damian Williams just went in the 5th. What the hell's going on? Okay. All right. Buckle in, chat. This draft is already off the rails. We're only in the 5th round. I have a few routes that I can go here. I have a few paths that I can take. One of them I can lock something down. The other one I can gamble. I have not yet decided which direction I'm going to go. Terry McLaurin, a favorite of mine. So is DK Metcalf. Both going basically back to back. They go very close in drafts. I asked in a Twitter poll the other day, if you were faced with a pick and you had needed a wide receiver around this range, and you said, I want, and DK Metcalf and Terry McLaurin are both on the table, which one do you take? Because I think that's a very, very tough answer. Tyler Lockett goes after both of them. So the gamble for me here, the gamble play, was going to be to wait and take one of DK Metcalf or Terry McLaurin if they were available. Whichever one was available, that was the one that I was going to take. And then gamble, and then get Dak in the next round, right, in the 6th, and then come back and gamble that somebody would be there. But without it, I'm just going to lock up Dak here. Yes, it's an early quarterback situation. Yes, it's very easy to go through these drafts and take wide receivers and running backs in the first 10 rounds, right? Just go get them. And then double tap quarterbacks and double tap tight ends from 11 to 15. Because there will be guys available. And I really do like the quarterbacks for, like the quarterback 14 to 19 range is rich. It's just ripe for the picking. And this was going to be the gamble that I was going to take, right? Is Michael Gallup going to make it back to me if I took McLaurin, DK Metcalf, waited, take somebody like Dak Prescott here in the 6th, then hopefully 20 picks later, I would have the ability to take Michael Gallup, but I'm just going to take him here. I now have that double stack, Dak Prescott, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. I'm very high on this Cowboys offense. Another great offense that I think is going to be stackable that we'll be talking about in the Best Ball Mania stacking video that I'm going to do either later this week. I don't know if I'm going to do that one on stream. Guys, I am not live on Twitch as much as I have been live on Twitch recently because I'm married and I got 2 kids. And there's been no school and there's been no summer camp. So with no school and no summer camp, it gets tough. So my wife and I trying to do our work and doing what we do, we have to prioritize things in the order that we prioritize them. And then we are alternating with the kids to give them some sort of normalistic summer camp, playing baseball, going to the pool, doing whatever, go golfing, something to get them out of the house and doing stuff. And to do that, we got to be the ones that do it right now. So obviously, I'm not streaming as much as possible. When I do stream, I'm going to try and put out as many videos as I can on the channel. Thank you guys for clicking recently. Appreciate it if you're new. If you click that like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll get videos up all throughout August to the best of my ability for season long, for best ball, and as soon as salaries are released, which is usually the middle of the first week of August, August 3rd through August the 7th has been when DraftKings has released salaries. We'll start kicking off our DFS content on the channel and then go back to our normal weekly schedule once the season gets here. So what picks did I miss here? Devin Singletary, who we mentioned in the running backs article as the value, the last of the high volume running backs to me. He's the last in that tier. Marquise Brown. Yes, I took Gallup over Brown because I took Gallup over Brown, not because I think that he should be ranked higher than him on ADP. I think Landry should be higher than him for ADP. I think that Marquise Brown should be higher than him for ADP. But in terms of building this team, I reached about 10 picks versus ADP because I did not think he was going to be there on the way back. The gamble on taking him there, getting Dak and him there to lock up with Amari Cooper and get as much value out of that Cowboys offense as I possibly can was important to me. I was also going to try and stack the Rams, but somebody took Woods the round before I could take Woods. You have a novel idea, you're going to employ a teacher to live at your house and educate your children full-time because you're exhausted. I mean, don't laugh, but I'm probably going to do that. Not to live at my house, but like, I'm probably going, with first semester being homeschooling, I'm probably going to hire a teacher to work with the kids from 8 to 2:30 or 8 to 3 so that my wife can do her job and I can do mine. And then we'll take the kids from 3 and they'll do their Zoom classes and they'll, this person can help teach them. A qualified teacher can actually teach my kids things. Because like I was working on math and word problems and all this stuff. And like, I mean, I coached for years. I don't have a problem teaching. So like, I'm all right at it. But there's always going to be that between you and your kids, right? Especially with boys, with a father. There's always that, anybody but daddy approach. Now let's see what we got out there. I don't want any of these middle round tight ends. I got 30 seconds to make a pick. Debo's hurt. Yada, yada, yada. These wide receivers, I'm not thrilled about any of those wide receivers. Might be time for me to take another running back. We talked about Keyshawn Vaughn, who has got an ADP of 84. There's nobody here that's really got massive upside, but he does. My issue with Vaughn is that I don't want to hang my hat on too many guys that have a bye week of 13. In these sort of leagues, in a full season best ball league that's going to play 16 weeks, which is what the single serving leagues are. If you're just going to pick a one-off league, right? You're going to get the value that you need to get. 0 RB from Scoundrel. He's got Devontae Adams, Brown, Ridley, Keenan Allen. No running backs yet for him. He just took his first two. Sony Michel and Howard looking for touchdown upside. It is only a 0.5 PPR here on Underdog. John Brown, Mike Williams. Darius Slayton is pretty solid. Week 11 bye week for him. Robbie Anderson, another week 13 bye week. Like I said, I don't want to load up on those as that is in the playoffs. So I'm going to take Darius Slayton here. Yes, I'm reaching a little bit. I'm going to get the guys that I want versus the guys that the draft dictates that I should get. How often do I try to make this 3-man stack, or this a 3-man? You mean getting another wide receiver? It depends on cost. I have no problem having 4 guys from one team. There are certain teams that you can do it. I think there's very low risk doing it with a tight end as well. But getting 200 plus target wide receivers and a quarterback with rushing upside, I don't know that I would take Lamb. I would probably split it to Jarwin if I want to triple tap. Deontay Johnson, the hype beast of the offseason, going at 8.6. I don't mean that in a bad way. He's a good player. John Brown, one of my favorite values from 2019. Remember we were getting him between like the 13th and the 16th rounds all draft season last year? And now he's the number 2 guy because now they got Steph Diggs. And I don't know that that offense throws the ball enough to God, fly just went in my eye. I don't know if they throw the ball enough to warrant feeding 3 wide receivers. And yes, I'm counting Beasley as a wide receiver, the king of dust himself. The fly is back. He has not been here for a while. Mecole Hardman in the 8th. So Dave the Champ went with Mahomes, went with Damian Williams early, went with Tyreek Hill at 3, took Mecole Hardman, but passed on Edwards-Helaire. So clear stacking here, and I'm never going to have a problem with stacking the Chiefs. Maybe he thinks that Helaire is not going to take the job. Fine. Right? If that's your argument, if that's the route you're taking, I get it now. Right? I get it now. So once I get to this part of the draft, once I get to rounds 9 and 10, and as I said, I went quarterback in the first 10 rounds. I don't think you have to. I did it specifically for this team that I am drafting around a Cowboys look. If you get the 3 pick and you get Zeke, Dak, and 2 of his pass catchers, easiest way to stack that offense if you think that offense is going to be one of the top offenses in the league. And I do, but I had no route to Zeke picking 10th. So one of the things that I kind of like to do at this point in the draft, and I don't really do it in any sort of order, I want to see where the runs come from. So I'll go through and I'll start clicking guys that I like at different positions, going position by position, right? Just to see when and where they go, and in no particular order either, right? I'm not doing this so it's a queue, so it's the next guy that I definitely will draft, but I want to know when these players come off the board. I don't like any of these wide receivers. Kind of versus where I am. Carolina is another easy team to stack, by the way. Super easy team to stack. I don't mind Duke Johnson. It's just not somebody I prioritize, I guess. I mean, I'll click CD Lamb, but like I'm probably not going to click CD Lamb, if you know what I mean. Miller, him. Rigor I like a lot. I got a couple of picks until my pick. There goes Sanders. Tight ends, like I said, I'm not really a huge fan of any of these tight ends that are going in the top 100, unless you're getting one of the top 2-3 guys. I'm not really going after those guys. Do like Gesicki. Don't want to buy another 13-round guy. Jonnu Smith, not Jack Doyle. Eric Ebron, Blake Jarwin, Herndon, all guys that I'm interested in. So now looking at the layout that we have, Phillip Lindsay, to me, looks like an extremely palatable player based on where he's at. Obviously, a lot of quarterbacks falling in this draft. I'm going to take Lindsay. I have no bye week issues with my running backs, which is key. I do have one in the 13th round or 13th week for bye weeks. I was having a discussion on Twitter yesterday with Eagles, who's a best ball pro. I don't know how, I use the word pro loosely. Like he does like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of best ball leagues. It is more what I'm kind of getting at there. He's somebody who is a little bit higher, right, on going 10 wide receivers and running backs in the first 10 rounds. Extremely viable strategy right now with the ADPs that we have, because here, as we see, you've still got all these quarterbacks available. Very easy to double tap 2 of these guys, and I think all the way down to like Goff is extremely viable. At tight end, you see all the guys that I've clicked that have massive upside. Gesicki still on the upswing in his career. Jonnu Smith, freak athlete. Eric Ebron in Pittsburgh with Roethlisberger returning. Blake Jarwin, Noah Fant. For best ball as a first or a second tight end, those guys are all great. And you can double tap them and not have to worry about it. I'm going to go Fant here. Get me an athletic tight end. A little bit of an ADP value, kind of going in the range where he should, plus or minus 5. I've got 4 wideouts. I've got 4 wide receivers. I don't have to reach for low volume guys. I don't have bye week issues. Yes, I have, the Cowboys that are going to be out in week 10, but I have no real bye week issues, especially no playoff bye week issues, which is going to be key when you look at this season from a best ball perspective. If you are playing, wow, that's really high for Rigor in the 10th round. If you are taking players in a tournament league, if you're playing a 16-week league, go ahead, take the week 13 guys, because it's not going to affect you. But if you get into the playoffs in a tournament setting, like this best ball league is involved in a tournament, week 13 is the playoffs, and you got to basically finish above a lot of really great teams. You've already finished top 1 or 2 in your league, and now you're playing against all the other top 1 or 2 competitors in your league. And if you've stacked the Buccaneers, if you've got Brady and Gronk and Evans and or Godwin and one of their running backs, you have all those players. A lot of guys to be missing when you get into the playoff rounds. That's a big meatball to try and deal with in week 13. Big fist coming up here at the 10-11 turn. He might double tap QBs here. He did. Cam Newton going in the 11th. It's going to be interesting to see where Cam Newton kind of settles in terms of his ADP, because that's going to be kind of important. He is definitely flown. I got him yesterday, I think in the 13th round in a draft. It's still on the ascend. It's still going up. I don't think you must pair him with somebody. You can pair him with N'Keal Harry if you want. If you've drafted James White, sure, fine. But like, I don't know if I'm going to be drafting James White as a top 3 running back, which is kind of where he's falling in terms of ADP right now, especially if you're going to go any sort of 0 RB. So I'm fine going with Cam Newton all by himself and just letting him sort it out. Does Underdog have a table view? I don't believe so. They never did before. I don't think they do now. Maybe it'll be something they add, down the road. Tariq Cohen. Marlon Mack going in the 11th could be an insane value. Because who's to say that Taylor is going to be the guy, right? What if they split 55-45 and Mack is the 45? I really don't think that Nyheim Hines is going to get a large chunk. There goes Harry at 11-7. Sammy Watkins, 11-8. These are all 18-round drafts. Mike Gesicki. There's one tight end off the board. I'm going to go with Darrell Henderson. Another player that we talked about in the value running backs, the mid-round running backs that could turn into league winners. Cam Akers looks like he is going to be the lead guy, but one, I never trust McVay. I never know what to do with what his coach speak says, so I just pretty much ignore it altogether. I kind of feel that you should too. He's not really trustworthy from a fantasy football perspective. He's never given us the straight poop. Never really told us what was going on. At least not honestly. Take old Preston right there. And now we wait. I think y'all know what we're waiting for here. So we got a couple of picks here that are going to be coming up for us in 13 and 14. I've got 18 picks to get to one of them. It's not a must-have pick. There's a few guys that are above him. And all those teams that are picking between me already have that position. So I don't think that he won't fall to me. Let's look at the quarterbacks that are available. Ridiculous, right? We're at pick, like Preston Williams was pick 135 and Darrell Henderson was pick 130. ADP of 90 for Aaron Rodgers, ADP of 93 for Tom Brady, 95 for Carson Wentz, Baker Mayfield. Like, there's still plenty of quarterbacks on the board. It's very easy to get a quarterback. And any of these guys, to me, in the 12th round, you're looking good. Rodgers, Brady, Mayfield. I'm really high on Ben Roethlisberger at his current ADP. I'm not as high on Tannehill at his ADP as I am Roethlisberger. I'd prefer Roethlisberger and Goff. Here go the quarterbacks with Wentz and Rodgers coming off the board at 12-8 and 12-10, which is kind of where I think people are going to go. I have a feeling of where I'd like to end up at the end of these next two picks. I do kind of like the way that this draft has shaped up so far. There goes Jared Goff, and he goes ahead of Brady, Baker, Ben. Goff kind of on par for a little bit of regression to the mean in a good way. For as many attempts as he has in that offense and as many good pass catchers as he has in that offense, they did not and as many yards as he throws for, they definitely did not complete a ton of touchdown catches last year. And that's something based on the amount of throws and the amount of catches and the amount of yards that he throws for, he should have more touchdowns. So if they still run that offense in that manner, which I assume they will, I would venture to say that he will bounce up. He will probably bounce up in terms of his touchdown production this year. Joe Burrow at 148 overall, ADP, but all the quarterbacks are going later. If you still believe in Phillip Rivers and the weapons that he has in Indy, fine. I don't think there's very much risk in any of these guys at rounds 13 plus. Joe Burrow at 13. Now it just comes down to, are you building a theme for your team, which I would totally understand, or are people actually higher on these guys? Chase Edmonds, solid pick there at 13.5. If Drake gets injured, he can provide value as a 35% snap guy, 30% snap guy. If Drake does get injured, or we're dealing with a situation this year where if somebody tests positive for COVID-19, they're going to be out for 3 weeks. So that's 3 weeks that somebody could very theoretically provide massive value for you. A couple of picks ahead of me: Baker Mayfield, Austin Hooper, Brandon Ayuk. One pick to go. Ben Jam Cam with one pick before me here. And this fly is already on my nerves. He goes Justin Jackson, which leaves me the Cowboys stack of dreams with Dak Prescott, Michael Gallup, Amari Cooper, Blake Jarwin as my tight end too. I have the full Cowboys stack. If that offense rolls the way I think that offense will roll, absolutely tremendous potential for this team, especially if they can do that late season. Helmus, thank you very much for the 35 months. What round did Lamb go on? It was like the 10th or the 11th. Ben Roethlisberger off the board there before he could get back to me. I was kind of hoping he'd make it. I didn't need him, but I was kind of hoping he'd make it. Best of what's left is either Tannehill or Drew Lock. I need somebody that's not a week 10 bye week. Tannehill does seem to have some regression coming his way, but I do like the talent that they have in the pass game there and the big playability that they have. And if they do work Derrick Henry into more of a pass catching role, and I'm not expecting him to be like a massive pass catcher, guys. I'm talking like 2 screens a week. You just throw the ball to Derrick Henry, 2 screen plays designed a week. 3-6-8-3 for team construction. No, it's an 18 round draft. So typically I'm 2-5-8-2. And then I make a decision. Like I either take a third QB or a third tight end. But 5-8 is typically where I go for running back and wide receiver, unless I feel particularly weak at running back, and then I might take a 6th one. So I really do like the way this team is shaped up. No, I don't have a match for Ryan Tannehill. You know, I could have gone, instead of Amari Cooper, where I took him, I could have gone A.J. Brown, but then I wouldn't have had my Cowboys stack, which I thought was very much in play for me. Where I was picking and the way that the early rounds went, I did get that accomplished. I'm happy about that. I would much rather have kind of a double stack. Drake greater than Chubb, but that's just you. I get that. In full PPR leagues, I would definitely agree. I like the volume that Chubb has. I think that he can move forward in his inside the 10 and inside the red zone efficiency with as much volume as he gets in there. Full PPR, I totally agree with you. Drake is better. I don't need this tight end anymore. Because I do have my 2 tight ends. Don't need a third. I can take one late if there is somebody there. But it's not a necessity. So now let's go through and just plug some guys that may be solid picks for us at wide receiver. Because that's kind of what I have to build on. All right, for the brand, Terrell Williams. Randall Cobb in Houston. LaVisca, I'm intrigued. King of Dust. Again, for the brand. Chase Claypool's interesting in Pittsburgh. I would probably take him if I had gotten Ben Roethlisberger instead of Tannehill. Chris Conley in Jacksonville. He's a pro. Miles Boykin, super late, I think is intriguing. Jalen Hurd because of the injuries. A lot of people like Antonio Gandy Golden, and I get it with the injuries that they've sustained and just nobody to throw to. So the opportunity should be here. Yeah, I could go Davis. He's just so bleh. Like, I'd rather take somebody. I'm not going to force a stack. And this is my own, this is just me personally. I'm not going to force a stack just for stack's sake. Right? So if the stack makes sense and there's massive upside to that stack, sure. But like, I would reach on Jonnu. Or see, Paris Campbell is who I wanted there. I mean, if he's just the guy who's here, like I might just take him just to take him. I have no week 7 bye weeks at wide receiver. And he does make sense from a stacking perspective, but I'm not going to stack just to stack. But in this situation, it does make sense, especially at wide receiver. He's just so meh. Well, now I don't have that problem. Thank you for saving me. I think Dede might be the play here. And I would have taken Corey Davis there, but like, my issue is we know who he is, and he's bleh. He's just not thrilling. I think Houston is a very interesting team and a very interesting team to stack from the perspective of their defense sucks. Their quarterback's not going super early anymore. So you can get him a little bit later than in previous years. He's still an absolute stud, and they might be involved in shootouts every single week. That's another stackable offense based on ADP where you can get David Johnson in like the 4th. You can get Brandon Cooks. You can get obviously Deshaun. You can get anybody in that offense and Fuller in like the 6th. If you want to stack that Texans offense that should theoretically be in an awful lot of shootouts and has an awful lot of vacated targets to fill, they're not all going to go to one guy. There's not one person that appears to be, able to fill the shoes. Right? There's no one guy that looks like he can just fill the shoes of Nuke Hopkins. So considering that those 180 targets are going to be spread around Cooks and around Fuller and around all these other guys, 110 to 140 targets is not unbelievable. And you're going to have a wide receiver, or a running back who can catch balls out of the backfield, even if it's half-point PPR, it's still points. Assuming that David Johnson can get back to 80% of what he was a couple of years ago, which is debatable. We don't know if he's going to be able to do that, but he is in an offense where they're going to feed the lead dog and has a quarterback who's extremely dynamic. And for upside purposes, you want quarterbacks who either have ridiculous efficiency or have the ability to pad that with their legs, because that's just the way that upside works right now in daily fantasy or in best ball leagues. It's just things you got to do. And he still goes there at 16-8. So now I've got 7 wide receivers. I've got my 5 running backs. There's nobody that really super stands out here at running back to me. Yes, I could take an Anthony McFarland. There's a couple of guys, but like nobody really super. Rex Burkhead at least is interesting. Jalen Hurd goes there at 16-11. Mike Boone is behind 2 guys. Doesn't mean he can't help, but it's not really thrilling. Nyheim Hines, I'm lower on him. Jamal Williams, I don't hate that. Look, if you want him as your 5th or 6th running back there, go ahead. Again, it's late enough where you're not gonna struggle. I don't feel like I need a 3rd QB, but there's still QB value out there with Locke and Rivers. I might, I could go that route. There's just not that much of a band. But the issue is if one of your quarterbacks gets injured, if you have two QBs, you do want to have a quarterback that scores you 18 to 25 points every single week in best ball. Now, while you should be able to get that out of two QBs, if somebody gets hurt, you're relying on a one quarterback system. And there's people are going to argue this on Twitter until the cows come home. But the data doesn't show any sort of difference between drafting a third quarterback or drafting a third tight end or any of it. Because the point expectation for a tight end on a week-to-week basis is much lower than the point expectation for a quarterback. So while that quarterback might not start a bunch of games for you, having that third quarterback just in case you face an injury, there's some value in it. I think I'm done with running back. I'm done with tight end. I'm either going to take a quarterback or a wide receiver. Any bye weeks I have issues with? Obviously, I've got the two Cowboys in week 10. I've got two week 11 guys, so probably not going to take another week 11. 7, 6, 9, so I'm spread out there. I can basically take anything that I want here at wide receiver. Anthony McFarland Jr., great pass catcher at 7-6. I'm a couple of picks away here at 17. Not 7-6, 17-6. Eckler looking good at his running. Look, if workout videos, see if I can do a thing here. If workout videos translated to on-field fantasy point scoring, Austin Eckler would probably be the RB1. Because he's been an absolute beast on social media in terms of posting his workout videos. He plays marbles too. Nice. He seems like a good dude. Like, I've been a fan of his ever since I read that article that came out on ESPN that he was an undrafted free agent, how the workout was, and his mom was there at the workout, and he stood out from a body profile perspective and just ran laps around everybody. And I immediately followed him on Twitter. He's very communicative on Twitter. If you tweet to him and you're nice, he'll tweet back at you. He's willing to have the conversations with the people. Antonio Brown. See, all the guys are going late here. Antonio Brown, if you think he comes back in the 18th round, if he gets picked, that's an amazing pick. Same for me. If you want another running back here in the late round, if you take Freeman, same situation. If he comes back, great. If not, you wasted an 18th round pick, but it's not horrible. For me, I'm going to go with Tyrod. Hope that he can return to form as Ty God for the Chargers. Yes, it's the same bye week as Dak. But whatever. I'm looking at all the other weeks. So Ryan Tannehill, please, week 10, have 18 fantasy points or more. That's all I need from you. I like the way that this team kind of shaped up with Dak Prescott, Ryan Tannehill, Tyrod Taylor at QB, Nick Chubb, Austin Eckler, good high volume guys, and one of them involved in the passing game. So good floor in terms of Eckler. Keyshawn Vaughn, should he take the job, provides me a lot of upside here, and they should use him because we know what the guy in front of him can do, and it's not all that much. He's not blocked on a path to the field. Phillip Lindsay should still have a carved out role in that Broncos offense. And in the case that MG3 misses some sort of time, I know that what I can get out of him with 18 plus touches. Darrell Henderson is the gamble for me, but he's a gamble at the 130th pick. So I don't have much draft equity tied up in these last three running backs, and there's paths to upside for all three, but Nick Chubb and Eckler should carry or pull the cart for me as much as possible. I've got the Cowboys stack. I've got the Cowboys super stack, actually, with Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, and Blake Jarwin over at tight end. Cooper Kupp, you guys know my feelings about him for the last few years. Great player, great upside, great usage on a week-to-week basis because of his usage inside the red zone. Darius Slayton, upside guy who looked really good last year with a quarterback that I think is on the upswing. Preston Williams, super cheap at 135. Dede Westbrook and Chris Conley at 178 and 202. Terrell Williams can bust off a big play at any time. And Noah Fant, as we said all last season, was always one play away from winning somebody $1 million, and it definitely happened because of his hyper athleticism at the tight end position. That's the team. That's what we're rolling with in this best ball mania draft. 3-5-8-2 is where we ended here. A third quarterback added in the last round, 5 running backs, 8 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends. I'll see you guys next time. Catch you when we get that next video. It'll be right over there. Bye.
He's a legend.